Joseph L. Robertson, 87, interviewed by his son-in-law, John H. Fisher, Jr., 61. John H. Fish, Jr. Over the years, you've mentioned how you enlisted in the Army before World War II as a young man, not quite eligible and not quite old enough. Joseph L. Robertson. I went to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, to visit my brother who is in the service. His CEO asked me, "Why don't you join the Army?" And I said, "I'm not old enough. I'm only 16. He said, "I heard you. You're 17. "It's what you have to be," I said. "I'm 16. He said, "That's right. I heard you. You're 17. So next day, I was in the military service. 4 years after I enlisted, war broke out, and we were mobilized the next day. I was with the 13th Reconnaissance Troop, 13th Infantry Division. I was the only one who wasn't killed, captured, or wounded. We were scheduled to land on D-Day, but the 12th 9th Infantry Division ahead of us had a terrible time landing. We didn't make it in. We went back out into the ocean and spent the night behind the battleship Texas, because we were in a little landing ship with no weapons other than one machine gun. John. Once you got on the beach the day after D-Day, what happened? Joseph. Well, the Germans were good at firing on vehicles. They knew exactly where your fuel tank was, so they hit the fuel tank. Our armored car blew up, killing the gunner, and the radio operator immediately. It was on fire. The driver was pinned in and could not get out, so all he could do was scream for somebody, "Please shoot me." 3 people shot him. We had to. John. And one of the stories that you talk about in this was the young German soldiers from the Hitler Youth. Joseph. Well, the platoon sergeant from the infantry had killed so many of these kids that he was losing it. He was crying like a baby himself. One of his friends came up and took over his machine gun, a .30 caliber. They kept coming straight. They didn't veer to the left or the right. Although everyone in front of them was going down dead, they kept coming, and he kept shooting them. He left, and one of his friends came up and took his place. The German kids were Hitler Youth, all dressed up in their black SS uniforms. They were aged from 12 to 14, and they didn't know how to stop. One of them was coming out of the woods. I hid behind a big tree that was knocked down. I could see these Germans in the woods across this big field, and I saw this young kid crawling up a ditch, straight towards me and my tree. So I let him crawl. I didn't fire at him, but when he got up within 3 or 4 feet of me, I screamed at him to surrender. We all used the same word, comrade. And instead of surrendering, he started to pull his gun toward me, which was instant death for him. This young man, he was blonde, blue-eyed, fair-skinned, and so handsome. He was like a little angel, but I still had to shoot him. And it didn't bother me the first night because I was so tired. I went to sleep. But the second night I woke up crying because that kid was there. And to this day I wake up many nights crying over this kid. I still see him in my dreams, and I don't know how to get him off my mind. This was an interesting story because he enlisted in the military when he was 16 years old, and I can relate to that because I'm 16. And he saw those people die, and he had to kill Hitler Youth, who were practically the same age as him. And I thought it was a really heartfelt story. Thanks for watching. Please watch our other videos.